What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Linares.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a Sunday for the Second Avenue boys today. I'll let you kick it off with all the pain you've endured today.
Man, I went to play basketball this morning. I play basketball like every Sunday. So it was just a normal day. I get there like 10 minutes late. They're playing the first little game. I'm like, okay, so I got next. I'm on, cool. Shooting around. I'm feeling good. First possession, we're on defense. Okay, cool. I think they score. I don't remember. Either way, no, it goes out of bounds. Whatever, doesn't matter. I get the ball, point guard, bringing it up. We're playing 4-on-4, a smaller court though. There's a big gap, so I throw a little push dribble. I'm going to the basket. I get a little bit too far under and just toss it up, whatever. I think I missed it. I don't think I made it. And then there are these I don't even know what they're like, mats or something rolled up
Mhm.
against the
Like
wall.
wrestling mats, probably.
Something like that. And I just absolutely just cooked my ankle like against that and the floor. Oh, it felt so bad. Does not feel good to walk on. I don't want to say anything like, I don't want to be dramatic, oh, it's broken. I don't think it's broken. So, but we're just say a little
Like a light
sprain or
sprain,
something. A
yeah.
little sprain or something.
Uh-huh.
Does not feel good though. I left. I didn't play any basketball.
Mhm.
So I played one possession and left. So tough Sunday. But here we are coming through for
Yeah.
you guys. How's your Sunday going, man?
So I mean, earlier I was driving. I had to go somewhere that involved a country road. If you don't know, we live in Illinois. So I mean, country roads are pretty apparent or pretty relevant here, I guess. Which it was a gravel one actually, and
Mm.
so I'm driving. I'm about to hit my turn, slowing down, and then I'm not slowing down. I'm just going, just sliding. My car kind of spins out and there's a street sign and a ditch that I go into. So my doors are kind of fucked up at the bottom. I mean, luckily, like everything, I thought it was gonna be worse, honestly. But I mean, luckily, I was only going about maybe 20 miles an hour, and I was able to get out of the ditch by myself as well. So, I mean, yeah,
Nice.
I'm perfectly fine. Just little cosmetics on the car. No, luckily, no like engine or it doesn't look like any like actual serious body damage.
Uh
Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad you're good. I'm glad it's not that bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw your post or whatever. You put a story up about it. You were like, just car was hanging out. I was like,
Yeah. It's
okay. I
it's
was like, I need details. I need to know what happened. So glad we got that on air. But yeah,
yeah.
man, the snow, no joke. Luckily, I haven't had any really bad encounters with the snow. But yeah, it's the first like real snow of the year. It's not even like real. Like it's not deep
It's like
snow,
that
but
snow that's
it's
like
just
it's
enough.
slick. It's that
Yeah,
little
just
yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
Just the
if it was like
cover.
actual snow, I would like went just like right into a snow pile and did fine. But I mean, luckily it wasn't, or not luckily. I mean, unfortunately for me, there was nothing there. So I mean, just boom, right into a street sign. The street
Hmm.
sign was it was like half. It was like pretty much it was 75% of the way down. I don't know if I was supposed to pick that up or like try and put it back in, but I just left. So
Yeah, that's probably
I'm on
whatever.
camera, but feds are gonna hear this, and I'll probably get a RICO case going. Probably do
Yep.
25 to life after this. So
Yeah, this is definitely going to be used in the court trial. This is like your rap lyrics, you're just incriminating yourself. It's tough out here, but hey, it is what it is. Appreciate you sharing that. Glad you're good. Uh, but yeah, man, I think we should move on to the songs of the week here, talk about those a little bit before we get into the main topic of today's episode. You want to kick us off here with your first song of the week?
yes. So for my first song of the week, I sent this to you the other night. We were hanging out with the boy Chalky, and it was Sticky. It was one I hadn't heard in a little bit, but it's like so fucking similar to the Hillbillies. Like you could definitely tell the influence on there. And I was like, man, I really I knew this is probably my favorite track from Honestly Nevermind, but this is gonna be one that's gonna stay in the rotation. Like I really enjoyed this listen. So
Oh, I love Sticky. The one for me this week has been Massive. That's not one of my songs of the week, but I've been listening to Massive a lot. I've been listening to Massive for months. I love it. They played it at the Nugget last night. I was like, wow, what a vibe. So
Eesh.
that was very random. My first song of the week though, I got Helen Back by Kid Ink. I was listening to this last night and it really just made me think, what happened to Kid Ink? What's Kid Ink up to these days? I haven't done that deep dive to look. I'm gonna have to check his Instagram, check his Spotify. It's been a while. But then it also made me think, like, Kid Ink, I mean, like he was popping in like 20, I don't know, let's say, 14. And then
Yeah.
I was like, was he like in your era? Like, were you listening to Kid Ink or was that?
No, like that was like the older kids were listening to Kid Ink a little. Like I heard some songs, but I wasn't bumping Kid Ink like that. I mean, maybe a few times on YouTube. Definitely had searched the name, but I mean nothing crazy. It wasn't one of the 2 Chainses or one of the
Hmm.
larger artists. Tyga's a very good comparison. I don't think they're at. It's still levels to it, but that
Definitely.
kind of be a name I'd throw out there that would be similar to Kid at the time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fair comparison. Tyga is definitely on a bigger level, but I was looking at Kid Ink, like, discography a little bit. Like, he had some songs with Chris Brown, Fetty Wap, like, who was
Uh-huh.
huge at the time. Yeah, he was going crazy. And hey, he was kind of probably like 2012 to
Yeah, I
14, I
was.
would say. He was
Mhm,
like the main early high school for me.
mhm,
And so, yeah, you were obviously younger, but I was like, man, I wonder if you like caught that wave or you were a little bit
mhm.
too young for that.
Yeah, I feel like later in the 20, I was thinking more 2012. I was thinking 2012, 2013. You said 2014, so I was like, that seems a little late. So I'm glad you
Hmm.
clarified there. But shout
Yeah,
out
yeah.
Kid Ink. That's probably his first podcast mentioned. So
I think it is. So shout out to Kid Ink. He had some hits back in the day.
for my next one here, we have "Family Business" by Kanye West. You sent me this on Thanksgiving, and man, this is just such a great Kanye track. I had to throw the vinyl on. Then we had it also on the side that it was for the college dropout. It's "Family Business" and "Last Call," which has been a song of the week maybe within the past month. And yeah,
Hmm.
I mean that was just a great listen. Both of those have been in the rotation heavy. I mean they've always kind of been in the rotation heavy. So shout out you on this one. It hit on Thanksgiving. So
Facts. I was listening to it on a run on Thanksgiving, and I was like, okay, like it just felt right. Uh,
yeah, definitely.
so I'm glad I could pass that vibe along. My next song, I got "Get Up, Get Out" by Outkast. Shout out to my boy Trey. He wanted this to be a song of the week. He wanted us to get a mention on the podcast. It's a great song. Outkast, in my opinion, two of the best. Really no misses. So you can't go wrong with any Outkast song, but this is a special one. You got Goody Mob, great track. We are at the Golden Nugget on Wednesday night. Probably it's Thanksgiving morning at this point. It's probably like 1:30 in the morning. He's like, oh, you guys don't talk about enough old rap, whatever. So Outkast, we talk about Outkast, Trey. You're not listening, I guess, but
Yeah, I mean to even bring up the older app again, if you it just we'll give an Airbuds plug for both of us. We go follow us on there, but my boy Coltino the Bambino, he asked what your MMA walkout song would be. And this is just a personal thing. I think it may have been in Creed or it was Ambitions as a Rider in Creed, but it's definitely
mm,
Hail Mary for me. Hail Mary by
ooh, that's
Tupac. So
fire.
yeah, that's just that'd be a perfect walkout track. So
That is fire. I didn't give him a song, so I got to do that now that you say
mhm.
that. But yeah, that's fire.
For my last track though, we got "Love Yours" by J. Cole. This is like family business, like eerily similar, like um, just like a very warm rap song. I feel like we don't get a ton of these, but I mean this is like very meaningful and like just very warm, like I said. So
Yeah, I think, yeah, just a very personal, grateful song. It's great. I love it. My last song of the week, I got "Yes, I'm Changing" by Tame Impala. Been bumping this one a lot this week. It's one of my favorites off Currents. Currents was like the first album that really like made me want to listen to like indie music a lot. So, back in like 2016, I was bumping this one heavy. Still bumping it pretty heavy to this day. So I hadn't really given any Tame Impala mentioned before. Song by him, I don't think so. Here we go.
yeah, I can't remember exactly what the thread was on Twitter, but it's something about currents and maybe it was with all the Yachty stuff that happened like a couple weeks ago. I can't remember, but yeah, that did bring it kind of back up. So it's been a little bit more in the rotation than it was previously. So
Fire.
all right, I mean you got if you're I mean you obviously have read the title. We're doing album of the month this week. We have for our November album of the month we have "Come Over When You're Sober" Part 2 by Lil Peep. This one has I mean just a shit ton of meaning to me. Um, this is like I mean, just for example, if you're watching on YouTube, Jonathan, I don't know if you know this is "Come Over When You're Sober" Part 2 was my first vinyl. I had got a
Mm,
bundle with a shirt and a cassette. So I mean, that's kind of kickstarted all of this. I'm at over 35 vinyls now, so that's pretty historic mark there for being the first. This is one, man. Like at the time, I hadn't listened to Lil Peep whenever his "Come Over When You're Sober" came out, the first one. So this was my first release I got, and man, this is this, I don't want to say for sure for certain. I think it may have been Views that was the first album I listened to, like waiting up at midnight, waiting for it to drop. But for some
Mm,
reason, I think Views dropped later. It was Apple Music initially.
I don't
Do you have any?
remember. I don't
Okay,
remember.
I
I
want
remember
to say
listening to
that.
Views the night it dropped. I do remember that, but I don't remember
So,
anything about it.
but this was like this is on SoundCloud. I fucking listened to "Come Over Server Part 2," the official release on SoundCloud off Lil Peep's thing there. So this just got a lot of meaning to me. This would definitely be like one of the albums, if you had to give, or had to give like 5 essential albums, something like that. This is 100% on there. So I mean, yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the thoughts.
That's fire. Yeah, I listened to Lil Peep like probably 2017 was the first time I heard Lil Peep. 20, I was almost want to say 16, but I feel like that feels early. So 2016, 2017, whatever. I remember one of my favorite YouTube channels, like in that era, was Cuff Boys. Cam Holler, he was just doing the mom reacts YouTube videos, showing his mom different rap songs, rap videos, artists, just doing reactions. And one of the first ones to really pop off was Lil Peep. And so I found his channel like pretty early. I feel like I was like shockingly early to his videos. Like he didn't have that many subscribers. It just came up in my feed and I was like, okay, mom reacts to whoever it was at the time. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll watch that. That sounds like a good one. It might have been like Chance or something, maybe. I don't know. That feels like something I would have watched. But anyway, Lil Peep was like the first one to pop off. So I went back to that and I hadn't heard of Lil Peep and he put me on and I think he did like probably Beamer Boy and like
Ben's
I don't
truck,
even
right?
remember Ben's Truck probably. Just a couple of the standout earlier tracks. So I was about to come over to Sober Part One like heavy. I remember when he died, I was like in my college dorm. I was actually in my friend's room, but in the dorm building, and I saw on Twitter, I was like, oh my God, like it's so crazy. And then obviously now looking back at everything he was saying is just like
Dude,
crazy.
yeah, we're gonna get into that. There's like so many moments in where it almost gives you like goosebumps. Like, um, it's, yeah, just crazy.
Yeah, but like I don't know. He was one of those people where so I listened to Hellboy, I listened to Come Over Your
Mhm,
Sober Part One. I never really gave Come Over When You're Sober Part Two the love that it deserved because it was a posthumous release. And I was
mhm,
like, oh, whatever. I was just kind of anti on that. Like I just
uh-huh,
didn't like that. And some people it just kind of depends the artist, I guess. But at that point, yeah, I was like, okay, he put this out. He put it out while he was alive. That's
mhm,
what I'm gonna be bumping. Like that's the peep I know. And I do remember listening to this like when it dropped, but I was just like, like I wasn't, I don't know, for lack of a better word, just like disinterested. Like I was like,
mhm.
like I don't know. I just was pretty
That's
neutral on it. And then going back now, I'm like, okay, this is good. But yeah, he was one of those people where I feel like I was into, but I just grew appreciation for one thing, and that was for the documentary, the Everybody's Everything
dude.
documentary.
Ooh,
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more, but that is something that really made me appreciate Peep way more. And I did like the music a lot, but getting to know him a little bit more as a person, see what was going on, really makes you appreciate everything about him.
yeah, and I mean, before we get into it, I just want to, what a phenomenal job done by like Smoke a Sack and I mean his mother, is the team there that I came up with this. Like, it's not something that veers very far away. They don't have, besides the I Love McConan feature and X feature. Like, there's not, you're not stemming far from what he really wanted here. And then I mean, when they had or they did the re-release, I mean, a couple weeks ago, and I mean, you could just tell how raw that was, but you could still see the footprints on the actual release that came out what 5 years ago at this point almost.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, just a lot of appreciation for that. And I mean, they've just killed it overall. I mean, they've brought Hellboy to streaming, Crybaby to streaming. They've done it the correct way. I saw a post about Mac Miller and how his camps kind of handled everything the correct way with him. I mean, I think Lil Peeps, management's right up there with it. So
for sure. I feel the exact same way. They've done great. Obviously, he samples and stuff, so that I'm sure it would have been tough to get it on when it dropped, and it streaming wasn't like as big as it is now, obviously, like when he was originally releasing these tracks. So yeah, I get that they were like, SoundCloud just doing their thing. But it's
Yeah.
great to have them all on streaming services now. Like obviously, like it was a moment when Star Shopping came to
Ooh.
streaming services, like Gym Class, like all those just classic tracks. Having those on streaming is just so much nicer, really convenient. I would occasionally go back to YouTube or whatever, and there's still some that aren't even out on YouTube and or that aren't even out on Spotify that I need. The number one, Downtown, I love that one so much. It's got the who's a sample? Beach House, the Beach House sample that's on Money Trees as well. Great track.
Yeah, there's still some to be, but they've done a phenomenal job.
They've
But
done great, yeah.
yeah,
That's just me being picky. Like I need that
yeah.
one though.
No, I do need Lil Peep. I mean, his first project, Lil Peep Part One. So I mean, we need that. So if you're
One day,
listening, I mean, bring it to us. Whatever you got to
yeah.
do. But let's get into it. First track here, we got "Broken Smile." This is one I really enjoy as like an opening track because it leads into it. You have the little vocals there, the beat kind of picking up, and then just right, she was the one with the broken smile. Man, that's one I remember on release night. Like, damn, just like chills straight up my arms. It was so refreshing to hear, and I mean, I don't listen to it as much anymore. It's a longer track, but I mean, at the time, this may have been my favorite track.
Definitely a good opener. Good chorus. It's just all around a solid song. It's like I said, it's kind of tough for me because like when I think of these like Lil Peep songs that I like associate with a lot of memories, it's the older stuff. Because like I said, I haven't been on Come Over and Sober Part 2. I know this is one for you that you love, and so I'm excited to hear your thoughts on this. This is an episode where you're gonna get to
Yeah.
shine. I'm excited to hear what you got to say. Hey, maybe spoiler alert, next month I might have a little bit, love on mine too. So we'll see. But yeah, good song. Let's get in the next one though.
We have Runaway here. So this was, I believe, the second single. They did Cry Alone first, I believe. And so really the way I kind of remember it, I was in high school, I was bumping Come Over When You're Sober like crazy. And then, I'd found, Cry Baby, Hellboy, all these other ones.
Mm.
And everybody was like, kind of like, why are you bumping this? Basically, like it wasn't that much, or it's just, I don't know, my friends even and everything. It was just like a weirder vibe for them. And then Star Shopping came out that fall. This is right before this release. I mean, I think like the summer fall, and then fucking just this mass like carryover effect came from it. And then they did Cry Alone, Runaway, and yeah, Runaway is probably my favorite video on the vinyl press, or the not the pressing, but like the cover that it's within. It's the actual Runaway video that they have, of his drawings and everything. Let me pull up the exact lyric that's like, where it's like, damn. Okay, so the chorus, everybody's so fake. Who care? Why the fuck do everybody act like they care? Whatever. And then it's I run away from my problems, or run away from my mom, and I feel like that's like so they made that so apparent. It's just very raw. Like it was so apparent in the documentary. Like he literally
Mm-hmm.
picked up his life and fucking ran away. I mean, to chase this dream. So this is one there I associate a lot with the documentary. I believe they played in there at some point, and they also do, I mean, some clips from the video as well. So
Yeah, this is a good one. This chorus is like, I will say the thing about his music is like it sounds good, but it's also just like so personal.
yeah, it's
And
like raw.
he walks that line so well. Like I do think some points throughout this project and some of his other projects, like it's very simple. Like he doesn't really do too much sometimes. Sometimes he does, and we'll talk about that. But I think sometimes he just says things that he feels, and that's what art is. He expresses himself, and a lot of people just connect with it. So yeah, this is another great example of that. I think it's pretty simple. I mean, it's very, yeah, I don't want to say repetitive, but it kind of is repetitive. Like he just
Yeah.
kind of runs through the same stuff, but it sounds good and it's personal and he's expressing himself, and people connect with that. So it's a good song.
Yeah, this is one I feel like without the video, I'm not like too crazy about, but man, that video, it just does it. It's like a little like cartoon just flowing through the whole thing. So really good video. And like you said, it kind of comes together all comes together well, although it's yeah, I mean, like you said, repetitive. Next
Yeah.
track here, we have Sex with My Ex. This is honestly one I'm not too big of a fan of. That's one of the few tracks in here where I'm not gonna have too much to say. It's just like I mean, just raw. I really like the way his voice sounds in it. It's just, I mean, the lyrics and everything I'm not connecting to too much with.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not one I listen to. Not bad though. It's he doesn't really have any like bad songs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, these,
like
yeah.
it's cool. Like
Mhm.
it's just not for me.
Moving on. Next track here, we have Cry Alone. This was the first, technically single, I guess, if you want to call it that, that they had released for the project. I remember one time, or this is like way, this is junior year. So what's that? 2017 or 2018, 19. We're at wrestling practice and we just I played whatever. And then like Anthony bumped this one time at wrestling practice. And like I was like, oh, this doesn't really like put me in the mood to fucking to
Yeah.
practice. Um,
Uh-huh.
but this is I mean another one. Just he brings in kind of he does or brings in high school. He hated it there, all that. How he wants to burn it to the ground. Hates everybody in his hometown. And he did like a really good job of kind of setting you into that. I mean, from where the documentary explained, where he, hated, like truly hated his high school, didn't really fit in, stuff like that. So, I mean, this is another one where I feel like it's pretty essential and explains like, the move to LA or, where just, I mean, getting out like at a very young age and going to chase his dream. So,
Yeah, I feel like I just saw a video on TikTok and it makes me think about this. It was just talking about um kind of growing up and realizing that in high school people are so sort of like shallow, I guess, for like lack of a better word. Like there's like, oh, they're weird kids, oh, the band kids, like
yeah,
whatever. But then like as you get older, it's kind of like, oh, like the
like,
weird
did that
things about you
matter?
are like, oh,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't matter. And like that's what makes you cool and like unique. And so yeah, I think Peep's like the perfect example of that. Like he was probably this weird kid. He had tattoos, he was tattooing his face. He was making weird music. He was probably listening to weird music. He was probably dressing weird, all this stuff. But that turned him into one of the most unique artists of the past decade. So be weird. That's the moral of the
Yeah.
story, I guess. Yeah, like be you.
Definitely. And I feel like Pete, like you said, it's perfect artist for that. For I mean, maybe someone who doesn't quote unquote fit in or stuff like that. I mean, maybe you can connect to a lot of these songs. All right, moving on to our next track here. We have Leaning. This was my favorite track at the time. These lyrics here, let me read this out. It's the chorus right after that little first verse. Woke up surprised. Am I really alive? I was trying to die last night. And then like that is just that's one of the ones at the time like that kind of like hurts, like somebody's feeling that, putting it into a song, and and
Mm-hmm.
then I mean think of his parent or his mother afterwards, like listening to that, because I mean she played a heavy part in this album, ended up giving the approval for a lot of these tracks. So but yeah, that's got to be like awful to hear. And then I mean for him, I mean somewhat therapeutic, I guess, to be able to put like your true thoughts into a track like this. So a very deep track.
Yeah, very, very honest. Like there's not many people that would be that honest. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's crazy that he said exactly how he was feeling. And
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like people overlooked it. People took it for just
Yeah.
surface level of a song, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like you said, I couldn't even imagine like being in his life personally and then going back to this. Like that would just
Mhm.
hurt. Like I feel like I wouldn't even be able to listen to this. But
Mhm.
yeah, that was definitely a standout lyric to me. I put a couple down in my notes like when I was revisiting the
Mhm.
album, getting ready for the episode, and I was like, man, like the line just like, am I really alive?
Mhm.
Like I think that's just so multiple ways to look at it. Like, is he really alive? Like he was trying to die last night, but also like, is he really alive? Like, is he
Mhm.
happy with what he's doing and where things are at? Like, there was obviously a reason he was trying to die last night. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of ways you can look at that. So crazy with the personal lyrics there.
Next track here, we got 16 lines, and I mean this is a Pusha T Clips S track here. Just playing there, just trying to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but this is the one I can't listen to it without like holy shit. Like so here, let me read the. This is I don't even like sit or talking about it or anything, just because it's just so it's another one of those just deep and just super raw things. It's the outro. Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear me? And then he's like, I hate it when you fake it. Like, I just hear like imagine somebody passing in your life, and then you hear that. You hear they recorded this and stuff like that. It's like that's why I do have like so much appreciation for this, is because I feel like, I mean, I don't, I guess you can't say anything for certain, but it's something, that needed put out, and it was put out in the correct way in terms of that. Like I'm glad they included that.
For sure. It's definitely another one, like you said. It's crazy. Reading it. I mean, there's even more lines than that. Like,
I wonder who'll fuck when I die. Like,
that's crazy. Yeah, there's a bunch. Like, yeah, it's just truly like a call for help. Like, it's just so crazy. Obviously, there's a lot of drugs, reference and things like that too. And it just like, man,
that's
it's just crazy. Like looking back at all of it and knowing how it unfolds.
same thing with Juice World. Like Juice World had just some crazy fucking, like if you listen now, it's like holy shit. Like I don't know how like you're letting this happen. And I mean, not to judge, because I mean you're not we weren't in the situation or anything, but yeah, just deep, very deep.
Yeah,
Uh,
crazy.
for the next track here, I mean, this is a little bit lighter one. This is one I feel like a lot of people should hear. I don't think everybody should hear all these tracks for, I mean, obvious reasons. If you're in a bad situation or bad state of mind, I don't think a lot of these are for you. But Life is Beautiful. I really love this one. This is another, I believe, single. I think they had released it a little bit before,
Yep. Yep.
and yeah, this just makes you. This is also just another one. It's a little vibe flip, but yeah, I really enjoy it. It's pretty uplifting. For I mean, some of the stuff in here is still deep and stuff like that, like we've been talking about, but it's a little bit more uplifting than the other ones. So
Oh, 100%. This is the one I used like on the Instagram post. Uh this was the only one that felt like the one. Oh yeah, we should share this one like for everybody
yeah,
to see. But no, it's good. It's a great song. Very, very big vibe switch from everything we've been hearing. It almost to me feels like it should be like the outro, like the happy conclusion. But then like I don't know, like is this conclusion to the story happy at the end of
no,
the day?
yeah.
So it's like maybe not, but it does switch things up nicely. Um yeah, it's good. This is one where I was say like, I think sometimes he's real simple with like the lines, like he just says it. But this one, he's cuticles, cubicle, beautiful. Like he's getting on his bars here. He's rhyming it up. So yeah, little switch up for sure.
This is next track here. We have Hate Me. I feel like this one has a little bit of a it's a lighter beat. It's not as heavy as the Broken Smiles, the Lean-ins, and it's not one I'm bumming too crazy, but like it's perfect right next to Life is Beautiful in my eyes. It's not as deep, not as dark, but it's still a Lil Peep track is what I can appreciate about it. It's still mixing everything together, I mean, pretty well. So yeah, I Hate Me. It's lighter beat is what I kind of associate it with.
Yeah, for sure. I think the only like standout line to me on this one that I want to talk about quick is just the line in the first verse where he says, "When I'm on the road and I leave you, I just pray I don't break you." And I think that's just a good line. Like I think it just shows his self awareness. Like he knows that, like I don't even want to say like the person he is, but just like the lifestyle he has and things like that. That could be like kind of like tough on another person that you're trying to like have a connection with. So yeah, I think that's a interesting line.
Moving on here, we have I Don't Give a Fuck. What track are we on here? That's gonna be the ninth track on the album. Uh, this is one. It's I'm not going. This is a like it's very similar to Sex with My Ex. I'm not bumping it too crazy. I love like the guitar they have on it though on the beat there. That is, I mean, one footnote I'll have on there. So
This is one where I did actually have another standout line, like the bleeding on my laptop, blood leaking out my laptop. I like that line a lot. Like it just shows everything he was pouring into the music and doing it himself. Like especially, he's been making music forever, it felt like. So at this point, I'm sure like he was doing it himself, laptop. Like he didn't have the studios when he started out, all that kind of stuff. He was just doing it in his room. So I like that line a lot.
yeah, I mean, like to bring in like the laptop part there, like it's these. He's just such a raw artist. Like I feel like these were I could say for not 100% certainty, but I would like to say for 100% certainty, like he is putting in what he's feeling. Like this. It's had to be therapeutic to put this shit on paper, or put it on wax or record or whatever.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
For the 10th track here, we got White Girl. This is one of my favorite tracks.
Okay.
I love the chorus. It just flows in pretty well, or the bridge, whatever you want to call it. Um, Told her, baby, I'm the type to get faded. I love that bar. It's just such a great little one liner.
Hmm.
Yeah, so just an enjoyable track. Um, and then I mean, obviously, just talking about cocaine, shit like that. It's like Pusha T esque here.
Yeah.
Best coke rapper since Push.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's a pretty solid track. Love that it's one of your favorites. It didn't really like stand out to me, but it was cool.
Yeah, it's just I feel like there's just some of those tracks here, and yeah, I'll agree with you on that.
But I
Uh,
think that's one of the things, like everybody has that a different connection to the songs. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like my favorite might not be your favorite because he's saying different things on a lot of songs. So
well, for the next track here, track number 11, this it's Star Shopping's got to be up there. Like, we're Save That Shit. One of the first that were I was really bumping like every day. But Fingers, this is probably my favorite Lil Peep track. It just flows so well. It's just a really good beat, and I mean, it's deep, of course. Everybody hates me, but nobody knows me. And then where did the time go? Could somebody show me? Like that's just I love those bars. I very relatable
hmm
for me. Not I don't think everybody hates me or anything like that, but in some situations you feel down on yourself. This is one I go to here. So and then I love the chorus, and then like the outro with that same chorus as well. I'll be the first there. I'll be the last there. Just it flows just super well. Just ends the song perfectly. So
this was one of my favorites revisiting, I will say. Like that first verse that opens up the song where he starts off, like you said, everybody hates me, but nobody knows me. And then he ends that verse with, why don't you hate me?
mhm.
I think that that is just such a crazy start and finish. Like, but just having that sort of like look at yourself being like, somebody appreciates you and like you can't really even appreciate that because you don't appreciate yourself and you just see the bad things sometimes. So I don't know, it's a very personal lyric like most on this project, but that one just really stood out to me.
Yeah, this is like in my eyes, this is kind of like the end of the album, because you have Falling Down, you have Sunlight on Your Skin, but those are where while I do enjoy both of those, I think he does a phenomenal job there. I feel like you're losing a lot of like what Little Peep was, or what Come Over When You're Sober was, what all these projects were, because you're bringing in just this outside aspect of it, like I just maybe they're like too upbeat, or they just don't give me like the same thing. Like at the time, don't get me wrong, fucking everybody's bumping Falling Down, including me. That was one I really love. That's kind of one that I feel like has not helped his career a ton, but I mean gave him a lot more exposure. This is following the X passing, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
these are just like eerily similar to the X and Juice World albums that we get now. Like that's kind of the way I view these tracks. Um,
That's true. I'd never thought about it that way, but it is kind of true. Like,
because you could feel it, because it's just come let's like I love that part, don't get me wrong, but outside of that, it just feels like that verse was recorded, the song was never finished, and they just threw these verses on there.
yeah, I still think it's a cool song. Like you said, I was definitely bumping it as well. Um, but I don't really listen to it like anymore. But in at that point, like in 2018, I was like, oh yeah,
Oh
this is
yeah, this
fire.
is like fucking crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that little they posted a little snippet on Instagram, and man, like it was and then they posted a little X and little Peep thing there. It was a really cool moment, I will say.
I was reading the Genius like annotation, and so it's I was like, "Come, let's watch the rain as it's falling down." It's annotated by I Love McConan, and
Mm,
he like settled it because I guess there was like a debate whether he was saying "Come, let's watch the rain" or
mm,
"Co," like a nickname for McConan,
uh-huh.
which he did call him apparently, but it's "Come." They said it
Okay.
officially is "Come" to make it more like accessible for everybody, but yeah, I thought that was interesting that because that was something I never would have thought of until I saw that. But that's like one of my favorite scenes in the documentary is like the relationship between Peep and McConan. Like he said, McConan said that Peep looks how he is on the inside and he
Yeah.
looks how Peep is on the inside. I just love that. I think that's just like a beautiful way. Just kind of like the opposites attract. And yeah, I love their relationship. So I think it's a cool way to close it. I like that one better than the X one, I think, just for like the
felt like a
relationship they had before
yeah.
they he passed. So
Mhm.
it just felt more like on brand. But they're both cool songs. It's I think it's poppy. It is whatever, but I think it was cool. It gave a lot of
Mhm.
people something to discover him with. So they're good tracks.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, just to like finish it up, to like put it in perspective, like what my life was at this point. It's like 2019, I'd say. The album released 2018, so I had bumped it my whole junior year going into senior year. But I mean, to kind of bring in, we talked about the documentary a lot. I want to give the documentary a little spotlight here. Um, and so like to put it in perspective, I'm working fucking 20 hours a week at Pizza King after school. Making like I think 8.25 was minimum wage, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember just like this, like on the week the documentary released, I think it was like 10 or $11 on YouTube. It was you could buy it on YouTube, so I still do have it. So it was Tuesday, I went and cashed my fucking $70-$80 check from Pizza King, went and just waited till Friday, waited for the documentary. And man, the documentary killed it. And I feel like I have like I feel like this part two especially, and then the documentary, they kind of go hand in hand together to me at least. This is one I was bumping crazy like then, and then go watch the documentary afterwards. And it's just such a, like an upsetting situation. Jay Green, like just the way he closes it out, like just talking like, where were these motherfuckers at like while he's dying on his tour bus, stuff like that. It was just, and then the management guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but for him to have to call Little Peep's mother at whatever
Crazy.
time and stuff like that. Like there's just so many like memorable moments, like where it's just kind of like, where was everybody, or no, like who was letting this happen and stuff like that. So just an overall just like awful situation, sad situation. But I mean, that's kind of the artist he was, and he's able to, you know, I was able to encapsulate it very well. And I feel like this album shows it.
For sure. When we picked this album for the album of the month, I was like, I don't think everybody's gonna be on board for this. I don't think everybody listens to Lil Peep, but
Mhm.
I think the thing everybody should do is watch the documentary.
For sure.
I don't even want to say it's entertaining. I think it's like moving. Like watching that, I think at the least you have a new perspective and like respect
Mhm.
for
Oh,
what he went
yeah.
through and his art, because the way he expressed himself and the way the music sounded was really inventive
Mhm.
and like something that we weren't really seeing at the time. Now it's, more common for you to hear guitars and singing type
Mhm.
emotional. He really pioneered in a lot of ways. Him and Smoke, obviously, everybody he was working with, they really went crazy. But it just, man, I will be
It's
right there with you that the documentary is crazy. I remember watching. I didn't watch it till it became available
Netflix, I
on
think.
Netflix,
Mhm.
and then I watched it like the day it dropped on there, and I was like, oh my god, this is so good, and
It's a
would recommend
one little,
anybody.
yeah, one little thing that like just really sticks with me is the when they're talking about like, Peep didn't really like, Peep was leaving, Goth Boy Click, like, and he like took him on tour and everything, stuff like that, to kind of get that exposure. So I mean, just another like that just shows the type of person he is. And then I mean, the last little thing, I can't remember who says it or when they're talking about it in the documentary, but they're saying, he's got he doesn't have, there's all these people, passed out on the floor of his apartment. Like he's sleeping on the floor of his own apartment, that he's pouring this raw emotion into these tracks and everything to afford this place. And he's still just like, I mean, giving that back to everybody. It just shows like the type of person he was. Obviously we don't
Mm-hmm.
know him personally or anything, but I mean, I feel like the documentary gives like a very good like understanding of like who Lil Peep was. So
For sure, 100%. Like the title truly encapsulates it well. Like everybody's everything. Like he
uh,
was so necessary to so many people's lives, and then just without him, like I can't even imagine. So crazy. Go watch the documentary and then listen to the album, and I think you'll find like a new appreciation. If you have listened to this album before, you'll appreciate it even more after watching the documentary if you already haven't. So Highly recommend.
Yeah, but I think that about wraps it up. I mean, I'll just really emphasize this is one of the essential albums in my life. Like, I don't think I'm doing this podcast without Lil Peep. Maybe not without this album. I can't say that for 100% certainty, but this is like a huge cornerstone for like my last few years of high school. Like, I was bumping this every day to I mean, give you some perspective into that. So
Fire. I love it. Uh, we got a good one in store for next month too, so you're gonna want to stay tuned for next album of the month. But
maybe a
it
little
was great
giveaway
talk.
too.
Maybe a little giveaway too. But yeah, it was great talking about this one. I know you've been loving this one for years, so great to talk about it with you. Let's get into some of the news this week to wrap up the episode. The releases, were very light, to put it nicely. We have projects from Busta Rhymes, Snoop, Quedeca, and then we had singles from Doughboy, Wiz Khalifa, Kali Uchis, Conway the Machine, Diplo, and Sofego. Pretty light week. I'm going to be honest, nothing here I saved in my library. I haven't really checked anything out, but just wanted to make sure you guys know that those are your artists. Like, they did drop, so,
Yeah,
go give it a listen.
yeah, super light week, but I mean, I haven't given anything a listen yet, but we'll see. You know, I got a little drive after this, so maybe I'll throw some of these singles on.
Maybe. Yeah, especially like with it being a holiday week, I was like, yeah, it's not gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. But shout out to the people that did drop. I feel like at the same time though, you would kind of want to drop this week because you think it'll be a light week, so you get a little more shine. But hey,
Yeah.
whatever. Some other news though. This is a very exciting quote we got. Joey Badass was talking about his upcoming project, and he said he's aiming for a quarter 1 release in 2024. He said it's very, very close to completion. He did also say like, oh, like life happens, like it might get pushed or whatever, which is very, very true. When they say close is a very relative. Q1, again, also very relative. That's a 3-month span. I would not expect this in January. I think we're looking at March, which could get pushed to April,
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm just glad he's, working on stuff. It was a pretty big gap, it felt like, between All American Badass to 2000. So anything at this point is probably be a little bit short of a gap than that. Joey, one of my favorites. So definitely excited for whatever we get from him next.
Yeah, same here. I mean, 2000, I've got to be bumping at least one of those tracks every day or still. So, I mean, very good project. Check it out if you haven't given it a listen.
Yep. And the last news kind of goes with the releases as well, actually. Last week's releases, though, if we're going to get real specific, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign, their song Vultures was brought to streaming services. It was originally premiered, on Power 92 Chicago, one of the Chicago ones, I think Power 92. And the Lil Durk verse is on Apple Music, not on Spotify. Is that?
I didn't confirm that, but that's what I read on Twitter. So, haha, fuck you, Spotify user. I'll
Yeah.
enjoy my Dirk verse.
Yeah, I listened to the song. You kind of were like, it's not very good. It's whatever. It's okay. Like,
yeah, it's like it's nothing like really stands out. So yeah, maybe the album's coming. Who knows? I don't really. I can't say for 100% certainty. I'm surprised you got this on Apple Music or streaming services rather. So
100% same. I kind of thought nothing was ever going to happen. And so the fact that something is happening, even if it's a single and that's it, more than I kind of thought we were going to get. So we'll just see what happens, and just stay tuned for updates. We'll be the place you want to be if this project does drop. I don't know.
I mean, we're going to cover it. It's Kanye,
Yeah.
We're going to cover it. Ty Dolla $ign too. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
We'll definitely be talking about it. But I think that about wraps it up for this week.
Yep, I think that's going to wrap it up. But we got a big month coming in December. Honestly, I kind of just want to say the December episodes that we have planned right now, just so you guys know, for the real ones to stick around to the end. So, we ended November with our album of the month. So we're going to have that coming in December. First episode of December, though, is going to be Spotify Wrapped, Apple Rewind. Hopefully it drops before then. It should. I saw it was dropping this week. But then again, like, I feel like it drops like on a Tuesday or like a Thursday, which is still November. I'm guessing it's going to drop the 30th of November or the 5th of December. So if it drops the 5th of December, it's not going to be next week's episode. So we'll have to pivot a little bit. But but hopefully it drops because it's like my favorite day of the year. So I'm excited to see what my top stuff of the year is. I'm sure you're excited to see yours as well, although you have it like year round on Rewind. But excited to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't look year round though.
Yeah. Okay. Second episode of December, we got our album of the month. We won't say what it is, but stay tuned. I'll say probably if Spotify Rap doesn't drop, we'll just flip those. So stay tuned on that. And then the 18th, we got our albums of the year. That's going to be a banger. We talk about that. We hint towards that all year. So finally, get it out there. That's going to be good. Then December 25th, it's a Monday. So, we got to come through with an episode for you guys. Best Christmas songs. I don't know the format if we do a draft, if we're going to just pick our top whatever. Let us know what you guys think about that. Let us know what your Christmas songs are. It's that time of year. So I've been bumping them a little bit. And to get back into it, to start January, we'll do our awards, MVP, all that kind of stuff. We did at the end of last year. It just worked out that way scheduling. I guess we'll start the year with that this year. Just talk about what happened last year. So that'll be a good one as well. Big month. December, really my favorite month for the episodes. They just kind of flow so nicely because it's so much
so easy. Yeah, we don't have we don't have to really think about anything, any episode ideas. Also, I mean, we didn't mention on here, I believe it's on a Tuesday this year, December 12th, my birthday. So Taylor Swift year. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Big month coming though, but I think about wraps it up. Anything else?
Nope. That's going to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody listening. We'll be back next week with hopefully the Spotify Wrapped / Apple Rewind episode for all you guys. That's another one. Stay tuned to the Instagram because we'll have you guys submit yours when you get some missing artists again and stuff probably. So could be a good one. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.